हेलो फ्रेंड्स, आपका स्वागत है विज्ञान घर के नए वीडियो में, जहां आज हम बात करेंगे दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी के एमएससी माइक्रोबायोलॉजी एंट्रेंस एग्जाम की। सो लेट अस बिगिन। At graduation level, DU offers microbiology course in 6 colleges with a collective intake of 238 seats. At MSc level, there's a total of 15 seats, of which 7 are entrance based, while 8 of them are merit based. This is the structure of entrance and merit-based intake in MSc Microbiology. The question paper for the entrance exam of MSc Microbiology is based on the microbiology syllabus. So if you have your basics clear, this particular exam would be very easy for you to crack. So in this process of learning, let us go ahead and let us begin, try to solve the question paper of MSc Microbiology entrance exam. So हम शुरू करेंगे with the first question, that is the virus which was used in Hershey-Chase experiment to prove that DNA is the genetic material belongs to the genes. So the well-known Hershey-Chase experiment which shows that DNA is the genetic material which is injected by the phage into the host bacteria. They worked with a DNA virus called T2 virus, which can infect E. coli. So it is known as a bacteriophage. Viruses, or I should call T2 bacteriophage, were grown in 2 isotopic medium in order to radioactively label a specific viral component. So viruses which were grown in sulfur, which is your 35S, has radio labeled protein, but the sulfur, because the sulfur is present only in the protein, not the DNA. While those that were grown in radioactive phosphorus, which is your P32, had the radio labeled DNA, as phosphorus is present only in the DNA but not protein. These viruses were then allowed to infect the bacterium, and then virus and bacteria were separated by a centrifugation process. Now the larger bacteria formed a solid pellet, while the smaller viruses, they remain in the supernatant. The bacterial pellet was then found to be radioactive when infected by a P32 virus. So this demonstrated that DNA, not the protein, just the DNA was the genetic material, because it was transferred from the bacteriophage to the bacteria. So the right answer to this question is option number B. The next question that we have here is high partition coefficient during liquid-liquid extraction process for the product recovery implicates. So the partition coefficient is the ratio of mole of solute in 2 phases and is more effective mean of measuring whether you have achieved a desired goal. The larger the value of DM, or I should say the partition coefficient, the more of the solute we have extracted or partitioned into the organic phase. So the right answer here would be option number D, ease of extraction. This is the formula for partition coefficient. आपका next question है, numerical aperture of an oil immersion objective lens is around. So the numerical aperture of an optic system is measure of its ability to gather light and to resolve fine specimen detail while working on a fixed object distance. Numerical aperture is being equal to the n sine theta, where n is the refractive index of the medium between your objective lens and the object. So this refractive index for air is 1, and for oils it's approximately 1.3, and the theta would be half of the angular aperture. So here for oil emulsion, the aperture would be 1.33. That is option number C. Next, which one of the following statements is incorrect? Let's read out the statements. RNA polymerase 3 uses internal promoter located within the transcriptional unit. Option number 2 is RNA polymerase 2 synthesizes mRNA. Option number 3 is RNA polymerase 1 synthesizes tRNA. And finally, RNA polymerase 3 synthesizes small RNAs. Now, In these options, RNA polymerase 1 synthesizes a pre-RNA, which is the 45S unit. Polymerase 2 synthesizes the precursors of mRNA and most of the small RNAs and microRNAs. RNA polymerase 3 synthesizes the tRNA and the rRNA, and which is a 5S small subunit. And here the correct option, or I must say the incorrect statement, is option number C. RNA polymerase 1 does not synthesize tRNA. That is the job of RNA polymerase 3. Your next question is, an isohedron structure of virus particle is made up of. So to protect the fragile nucleic acid from physical, chemical, and enzymatic damage, protein subunits of viral capsids are present in many copies per each particle. So the viral nucleocapsid has different morphological forms of symmetry. Many viral capsids, they possess isohedral symmetry. So in the isohedron, it's a geometrical figure which requires definite number of structure units to complete a shell. In this arrangement, 12 vertices, 20 triangular identical facets are present on 30 edges. There are 6 five-fold axes of symmetry passing through the vertices, 10 three-fold axes extending through each face, and 15 two-fold axes passing through the edge of an isohedron. A virus with isohedron symmetry has a 5:3:2 symmetry. So it requires a multiple of 60 subunits to cover the surface completely. In the given option, option number C, 20 faces, 12 vertices, and 30 edges is the correct answer. Your next question is, a nucleotide consists of nitrogenous bases linked to a sugar phosphate. The nitrogenous base is either a purine or a pyrimidine. Which of the following combinations are pyrimidines? Pyrimidine basically is one of the two classes of heterocyclic nitrogenous bases that are found in nucleic acids, both DNA and RNA. In DNA, the pyrimidines are cytosine and thymine. In RNA, uracil replaces thymine. So here, cytosine and uracil is the correct answer. Your next question is, which of the following enzyme is generally used for preparation of high fructose corn syrup? The high fructose corn syrup, also known as glucose fructose, isoglucose, and glucose fructose syrup, is basically a liquid sweetener made up of corn starch. The fructose in this HFCS is manufactured by an enzymatic process that turns the cornstarch into glucose and then into mostly fructose by glucose isomerase. So that would be in this particular options, the option number B, which is glucose isomerase, would be the correct answer. Your next question is asking that cyclization of glucose results in a. The cyclic form of glucose is a 6-member ring with intramolecular hemiaxial form by attack of hydroxyl group on the carbon 5th to the aldehyde carbon on the carbon number 1. So basically, the cyclic form of glucose is a glucopyranose. So the correct answer is option number B, pyranose ring. Your next question is, during assembly of a poliovirus particle, 12 of the 14 S complexes assemble together to form. The polioviruses again has an isohedral particle of approximately 30 nanometer in diameter. So these particles, they comprise of 60 copies of each of the 4 structural proteins. Here, option number A, an empty 73S capsid would be the right answer, and I'll tell you why. The proteins that are present are associated together in a complex and they are arranged in group of 3 on each of the 20 faces of your isohedron. the entire genome of the poliovirus is translated as a single giant polypeptide, which is cleaved as translation proceeds into smaller polypeptides. So the first cleavage generates polypeptides called P1, which is the precursor of all 4 viron proteins. Synthesis of P1 is directed by the 5' end of the genome, and it is synthesized completely before cleavage. Subsequently, this P1 is cleaved into protein VP0, VP1, and VP3. Now, the poliovirus assembly begins from these 3 proteins, which associate with each other and infect the cell to produce a complex with a sedimentation coefficient of 5s. 5 of these 5s complexes then come together to form a 14s pentamer complex. 12 of these 14s complexes in turn assemble to form an empty 73s capsid. At this point, the genome positive senses single-stranded RNA is added to the particle. So an empty 73s capsid is the right answer to this question. Here is the arrangement of the assembly of a poliovirus. Your next question is, resolving power of a microscope is a function of. The resolving power of an objective lens is measured by its ability to differentiate 2 lines or points in an object. The greater the resolving power, the smaller the minimum distance between 2 lines or points that can still be distinguished. The wavelength of light and angular aperture are significant factors that affect the resolving power. So, option D, wavelength of light used, and numerical aperture of lens system is the correct answer. Your next question is, which of the following is not an industrial byproduct? In the given option, sulfite-based liquor, corn steep liquor, and molasses are byproduct from pulp and paper industry, corn wet milling, and sugar industries respectively, while the yeast hydrolysates are hydrolyzed product of yeast cell. They are made up by special enzymatic hydrolysis and wall breaking process. It contains large number of amino acids, small peptides, rich B vitamin, glutathione, and nucleotide substances. So the correct answer to this question would be option number D, yeast hydrolysate. Your next question is, a male genetic disorder caused by the presence of 1 or more extra X chromosome is. So people typically have 46 chromosomes in each of the cell, 2 of which are sex chromosomes. In a disorder called Klinefelter syndrome, it is a sex chromosome disorder in males that results from an extra X chromosome. So here, option number B is the correct answer. Your next question is, which one of these enzymes is not packaged inside a retrovirus particle? A retrovirus has a membrane containing glycoproteins, which are able to bind to a receptor protein on a host cell. There are 2 strands of RNA within the cell that have 3 enzymes: protease, reverse transcriptase, and integrase. What is not present is a glucosylase. So option number D, glycosylase, is the correct answer. Your next question is, who was awarded Nobel Prize for the discovery of streptomycin? The Nobel Prize in Physiology and Medicine in 1952 was awarded to Salman Abraham Waxman for his discovery of streptomycin, the first antibiotic effective against tuberculosis. Next, which of the following groups of microorganisms contribute maximally to global antibiotic production? The genus Streptomyces are the most prolific antibiotic producers that belong to a unique subgroup of bacteria called actinomycetes. The correct answer to this question would be option number D, actinobacteria. Our next question is, representatives of most major families of DNA viruses are associated with cancer, except it is estimated that viral infection contributes to 15 to 20% of all human cancers. The Epstein-Barr virus, human papilloma virus, hepatitis B virus, and human herpes virus are the forms of DNA viruses that are capable of causing the development of human cancers. Human adenoviruses are not associated with any human cancer, but they are widely studied and important models in experimental cancer biology. Polyoma viruses are DNA tumor viruses with small circular genome having Merkel cell polyoma virus. So, as the only representative that causes cancer in humans. Pox virus, on the other hand, have large size double-stranded DNA, but they do not cause any form of human cancer. Interestingly, in many anti-tumor vaccines, they are being designed based on these pox viruses. Vaccinia virus, the prototype virus of pox virus genus, which has been used to eradicate smallpox, along with other pox viruses, are now being considered for treatment of cancer as well. Due to the large size of genome, pox viruses offer unlimited possibilities for genetic manipulation, while high degree of safety in making of vector for an anti-cancer vaccine. So option number A, pox viruses, is the correct answer. In the next question, which of the following could be the reason for no expression of eukaryotic recombinant protein using an expression vector in E. coli? E. coli bacterial expression system is commonly employed for production of recombinant proteins. However, this prokaryotic system fails to provide secretion of heterologous eukaryotic expressed proteins in large amounts. Now, this could be because of multiple reasons. First is the codon bias or usage. Most of the amino acids that have been encoded by more than one codon, and all available amino acid codons are biased, utilized by each organism as reflected by differential number of tRNA in the cell biased to its mRNA. Now, observation of codon usage in E. coli reveals that highly expressed genes exhibit greater codon bias that poorly expressed ones. So, and the frequency of synonymous codons used reflects the abundance of these cognate tRNAs. These can imply that the heterologous genes with abundant codons, they're rarely used in E. coli, may not be efficiently expressed in E. coli. And this may lead to translation errors. So codon bias become highly prevalent problem when rare codons in the transcript form clusters, such as either doublets or triplets. So they accumulate, and this accumulation in the large quantities may cause error and even frame shifting events or a premature translation termination. There could be other reasons as well, such as many recombinant proteins fail to correctly fold, and often they are recovered as inclusion bodies if expressed in E. coli. Also, E. coli has a limited eukaryotic post-transcriptional machinery function, right? So it is especially lacks the phosphorylation and glycosylation events, which is considered as a key disadvantage for producing eukaryotic proteins in an E. coli system. Also, stability of mRNA in E. coli does not match the time length required for eukaryotic expression rates. So in the given option, option number C, which is the codon bias, is the correct option. The next question is the region in which bacterial chlorophyll can absorb light is. An oxygenic photosynthetic bacteria possesses bacteriochlorophyll, which absorbs light in the infrared region, which is your 725 to 1035 nanometer. So option number B, infrared region, is the correct answer. The next question is, ribavirin has been used in aerosol forms to treat infants hospitalized with. Ribavirin is a guanosine analog, which in aerosol form is also known as a virusol, and it is used to treat only severe RSV problems that happen in the lower respiratory tract. RSV, or the respiratory syncytial virus, is the most common cause of severe lower respiratory tract disease in infants. It can cause up to 90% of bronchiolitis, 40% of bronchial pneumonia cases. So here, option number B is the correct answer. Your next question is, introduction of oxygen into fermenting yeast leads to the cessation of ethanol fermentation, which is known as, the correct answer here is option number B, Pasteur effect. Pasteur effect is an inhibiting effect of an oxygen on fermentation process. It has been observed that under anaerobic condition, ethanol production from glucose increases by several folds, whereas under aerobic condition, glucose consumption is reduced. Fermentation process and ethanol production hence is compromised. Anaerobic condition leads to less ATP production, while aerobic condition produces high ATP. Hence, one may require more glucose consumption to produce more ATP in absence of oxygen. Hence, one may say that higher concentration of oxygen inhibited ethanol production, and aerobic conditions promote ethanol production. Your next question is, thermolabile biological material cannot be extracted from fermentation rod by use of which of the following techniques? Most of the biological products of fermentation are sensitive to heat, and therefore they require gentle drying methods. Freeze-dried extraction method retains the thermolabile compounds which are lost in spray drying method. This particular spray drying method is performed at higher temperature. Spray drying basically is used for the production of powder from a liquid. During the process, the liquid is initially atomized into the chamber of a heated air created by a spray of fine droplets. The solvent, it quickly evaporates under these conditions, forming a dried particle which is later recovered. Some advantage of spraying dry includes the ability to quickly produce a dry powder and the ability to control the particle size distribution. However, the potential instability of material sensitive to high temperature cannot be recovered from this particular technique. So the correct answer to this question is option number C, spray drying. Your next question is, the alpha helix configuration found in proteins has. The correct answer to this question is option number D, which is 3.6 amino acids per turn. The alpha helix is a common structural motif of protein. It contains a right-handed helix with a repeat length of 3.6 amino acid residues per helical turn. The alpha helix is stabilized by hydrogen bonds between an amide hydrogen of the amino acid and a carbonyl oxygen 4 amino acid away. Only at the 20 amino acid, any 20 amino acid can participate in this alpha helix, but some of them are favored. So the amino acid methionine, alanine, leucine, glutamate, and lysine, they are highly likely to form an alpha helix, while other amino acids such as proline, glycine are unlikely to form an alpha helix. Let's move to the next question. It is asking that traditionally humus is made from milk of which of the following animal? Humus is made by fermenting mare's milk. During fermentation, lactobacilli bacteria acidify the milk, and yeast turns it into a carbonated, mildly alcoholic drink. So the right answer to this question is option number A, mare. Your next question is, in which of the following cases can a vaccine be used post-exposure to the virus? Rabies virus has a relatively longer incubation period. Post-exposure vaccines are typically highly effective. It is given to the person who has been exposed either by a bite or a scratch or a lick of an animal that is known or may be thought to have rabies. So the rabies vaccine may also be given ahead of the time to the person who had the higher risk of getting infected with the rabies virus. So option number B, rabies virus is the correct answer. Your next question is, which of the following combinations regulate gene expression? Now, eukaryotic gene expression is regulated during transcription and RNA processing, which takes place in the nucleus, and during protein translation, which takes place in the cytoplasm. Together, regulation may occur through post-translational modifications of proteins. During development, the pattern of DNA methylation in genome changes as a result of dynamic processes involving both de novo methylation and demethylation of DNA. As a consequence, differentiated cells, they develop a stable and unique DNA methylation pattern that regulates tissue-specific gene transcription. DNA methylation regulates gene expression by recruiting proteins that are involved in gene repression or by inhibiting the binding of transcriptional factors to the DNA. mRNA stability also influences the gene expression in virtually all organisms from bacteria to the mammals, and the abundance of a particular mRNA can fluctuate many folds following a change in the mRNA half-life without any change in the transcription. So here, option number D, DNA methylation and mRNA stability is the right answer. Your next question is, which of the following microorganisms are used in yogurt preparation 1:1 ratio? The main or the starter culture in yogurt are made up of Lactobacilli, Delbrueckii, and Streptococcus thermophilus. The function of the starter culture is to ferment lactose, milk sugar, to produce lactic acid. Now, these species normally metabolize only glucose moiety of lactose, secreting galactose and producing lactic acid as the main metabolic end product. The increase in lactic acid decreases the pH and causes the milk to clot or form the soft gel-like structure, which is the characteristic of your yogurt. So the correct answer to this question is option number A. Your next question is, in 1952, this scientist published a paper that established the plaque assay as a mean of counting viable animal virus. Now, this person here, Renato Dulbecco, along with his long-term colleague, Vogt, developed the first quantitative assay for animal virus. In 1975, this Italian-American virologist shared the Nobel Prize for Physiology and Medicine with Howard M. Temin and David Baltimore for setting up a plaque assay to measure Western equine encephalomyces and poliovirus. So the correct answer to this question is Renato Dulbecco. Your next question is, in specialized transduction using lambda phage, transduction occurs when the newly forming phage acquires the host gene and transfer them to other bacterial cell. Now, generalized transduction can transfer any host gene. It occurs when phage packaging accidentally incorporates bacterial DNA instead of its phage DNA. Specialized transduction is due to faulty separation of prophage from bacterial chromosome. As a prophage, this lambda always inserts between the gal region, the galactose operon, and the bio region of the biotin operon of your host chromosome. At this time, the new phage includes both phage and bacterial genes, either the gal or the bio gene, packaged into the phage head. Now, this transducing phage can transfer selective bacterial and prophage genes into other bacteria. So, like I said, because it is inserted in either the gal or the bio regions, option number A, only the gal or bio regions can get transduced is the correct answer. The next question is, an oxygenic bacterial photosynthesis uses the following as a chemical reductant. Now, the bacteria that perform anoxygenic photosynthesis utilize inorganic compounds, for example, H2S, or organic compounds as chemical reductants instead of water. There are several groups of bacteria that undergo anoxygenic photosynthesis. For example, there's a green sulfur bacteria, green and red filamentous anoxygenic phototopes, phototopic purple bacteria, phototrophic acidobacteria, phototrophic heliobacteria. So there are several bacterial forms, and here out of this given option number C, which is hydrogen sulfide or H2S, is the correct answer. Your next question, and basically the final question here, is the concept of gene rearrangement in antibody production was given by. So there was this scientist Susumu Tonegawa. He was a Japanese scientist who was the sole recipient of Nobel Prize for Physiology or Medicine in 1987 for his discovery of genetic mechanisms that produce antibody diversity. So option number B is the correct answer. All right, dear friends, thank you for watching the video. Please do not forget to share, like, and subscribe our channel. And we'll catch you soon in the